The Army Upgrade channel continues to introduce you to the most promising armaments of different countries around the world. The US tried to determine the winner in the hypothetical confrontation between the Russian T-90M tank and the American M1A2 Abrams SEP V3. Experts concluded that by and large the T-90M corresponds in functionality to the M1A2 Abrams. The Russian tank has a commander's panoramic sight, and the gunner has a multi-channel Sosna U sight. The T-90M also has a state-of-the-art Relik dynamic protection system, which is complemented by anti-shock protection under the turret and in the rear of the vehicle. In the future, the T-90M can be fitted with the Afghanit active protection system. The T-90M has an improved version of the 2A46 gun and a 12.7mm machine gun. Due to the installation of an air conditioner and new controls, the T-90M has become quite a comfortable tank for the crew. The M1A2 SEP V3 also had armor upgrades and thermal imaging equipment on the commander's and gunner's sights. However, the Abrams gun did not undergo significant changes. But the tank's arsenal was updated with new HE-MP-AT and M829A4 APF SDS rounds. Both Russian and American tanks have improved communication systems. The advantage of the T-90M is its ability to fire anti-tank guided missiles. In addition, the Russian tank weighs less than its American competitor, which means that it will be more mobile on the battlefield. But according to experts, the equipment of the M1A2 will allow the crew of the Abrams to detect the enemy earlier. Accuracy of fire and the ability to penetrate the enemy's armor will be about the same. Having weighed up the advantages and disadvantages of tanks, American experts have come to the conclusion that in the confrontation of machines, the victory will depend on the level of training of their crews. Write in the comments whether you agree with this statement or not. Today we will talk about women in aviation. As it became known, in the Russian Air and Space Forces in 2 years will appear the first female fighter pilots. They will fly modern combat aircraft, the Russian Ministry of Defense reported. We train all girls at the Krasnodar Higher Military Aviation School of Pilots for combat aviation. At the same time, the vast majority of girls are preparing to become pilots of military transport aviation, but some girls are trained to fly fighters and attack aircraft. Girls are not given any preferential treatment in training, and all of them go through the full course of combat training of a military pilot. Some of the female pilots have already completed their 4th year at the school. They mastered different types of flight training on L-39 jet trainer planes, including complex aerobatics and group cohesion. The decision to enroll girls in flight specialties was made in 2017. Only 16 out of more than 200 candidates were enrolled at that time. In the first 2 years, 31 girls were enrolled for training. And for the first streams of military pilots provided for the opportunity to serve only in transport aviation. The U.S. Air Force Academy began accepting girls for training in 1976. There are 728 female pilots in the U.S. Air Force, excluding the Army Air Corps and sailors. China has formed purely female squadrons in fighter-bomber aircraft. In the United Arab Emirates Air Force, a female hijab pilot has been flying the F-16 fighter jet since 2007. They say so in hijab and flies. Continues to introduce you to the most promising weapons of various countries of the world. Today we will look at the Russian A-50U long-range airborne radar reconnaissance aircraft. U.S. aviation experts have called the upgraded version of the A-50U reconnaissance aircraft one of the top secrets of Russian defense and reconnaissance success. The main upgrade of the aircraft was to improve the performance of the Shmel-M radio complex. The flight and combat characteristics of the aircraft have also been improved. The manufacturer states that the radar dome itself has become lighter due to the modern Shmel-M components. It is also more effective, as it can track air targets up to 650 kilometers away and ground targets up to 300 kilometers away. It can simultaneously track about 300 ground targets or 40 air targets. The A-50U is an upgraded model of the A-50 developed during the Soviet era. The newer model can detect and track more targets. In addition, the planes have gained fuel-efficient engines. This allows them to stay in the air longer. A digitized airplane control system was added to the updated A50U. It is designed to minimize the risks of human error. Russia is considering India as a potential buyer of the aircraft. Earlier it was reported that the Russian Air and Space Forces will deploy these A50U long-range radar detection aircraft in the Arctic. They will be involved in the protection of the Northern Sea Route and the Arctic Circle, and will patrol the North Pole. The Russian Irkut Corporation, part of the United Aircraft Corporation Rostet, introduced a new brand, Yakovlev. This is how the company will be called from now on. The decision was made taking into account the growth of the company's geography and competencies in the field of civil aviation in recent years. It is reported that over the last 20 years, Irkut has evolved from a corporate center at the Irkutsk aviation plant to a leading developer and manufacturer of civil aircraft. Today, Irkut employs over 20,000 people and has produced over 8,000 airplanes. The company has extensive experience in aircraft design and modern production facilities. The key projects are Superjet and MC-21. Now, the Russian aircraft industry is at a turning point. Against the backdrop of the departure of Boeing and Airbus, the industry is trying to overcome its dependence on imports and aims to fully equip airlines with domestic aircraft comparable in quality, reliability, and other characteristics to the airplanes of world brands. By 2030, the United Aircraft Corporation is to supply Russian airlines with about 500 civil airplanes. Irkut will produce 142 regional SSJ News and 270 Mississippi 21S. The number of Yak-130 combat trainer aircraft is not reported. Yak-130 can be used for training in conditions close to a combat situation with conditional or real use of air-to-air, air-to-ground weapons. The combat training mode allows pilots to be trained without the actual suspension of airborne weapons. The supplier of the new airplanes will be a company under a new brand, Yakovlev. All about the secret technologies of the U.S. Air Force stealth bomber B-21 Raider. See at the end of the video at the link. See you on the Army Upgrade channel.